biggest hurdle for me with superhero prose right now is when I'm looking through stuff, I want more reassurances from the outset that this particular superhero prose series is not influenced by like Watchmen or deconstruction or anything like that when I'm looking for something, to read. Um, so I think in the future, what I'll try to do, like if I try to go to in depth with something, I'll say whether or not this has like the aspirational seal of approval. So if this means I have to kind of speed read through a whole lot of superheroes in high school setups to see if it eventually uh, turns into more cosmic or aspirational bents, then I'll do so. But more than likely, what I'll also do is wait until some of the unknowns are like on sale, where it's like, okay, am I gonna enjoy this because of whatever kind of wheelhouses are in it? So, because even though the superhero prose hub has a lot of books linked so far, like over a little over 400 now, when I look at most of them, like even with the blurbs and everything else, it's like, this feels too much like Marvel Civil War type stuff, or too much of our politics in something, in some cases. So I guess to dive into these things, I'm gonna have to like speed read or something, to where it's like I gotta find out if in the end this thing is gonna have an uplifting ending, or is it gonna be down in the dumps, deconstructionist, nihilistic cesspool. So I guess Florida Woman will have to brave the rest of the book sea here to find stuff that she wants, especially when it comes to superhero fiction or in other fiction in general. Um, because I guess that's the only way I'll really know how. So, if book one in a series doesn't really catch me, then I'll know for sure the rest of the series probably won't catch me as well. Because sometimes I can forgive, like, anti hero, whatever, I'm not interested in this character setup, if the setting has a more cosmic bent and it has other characters that I can find interesting. But in the long run, with any kind of superhero prose stuff, if like a fair amount of your main characters are not likable at all, I'll probably find myself just tuning out. Because sometimes not just the setting by itself can keep my interest, even if it does have like some cosmic or space kind of like cosmic bent. Florida Woman needs more coffee. Yes. But I guess that's my little short quip with superhero prose today. Okay, let's see if I can think of anything else. I'll pause it for a moment and we'll be right back. Plus, while looking at Twitter, I'm one of the few accounts that talks about superhero prose fairly consistently. It's like, come on, everybody! There's got to be more love in this tank somewhere. Besides, the people that are running the superhero prose hub. I mean, again, their moderators are more of a left-leaning bent, but to their credit, they will put up people's books that I know for sure everybody's politics wouldn't mesh. But they genuinely do care to get superhero prose out from under, so that's what I appreciate the most. Because believe me, so some of the writers I follow definitely don't share my politics whatsoever, but most of them seem to have managed to at least keep a fair amount of that out of their superhero prose books, unless they're specifically like signaling otherwise. Which I found a handful of them do that, so I don't read their books. Because if I read their books, I'd definitely give it like, "Hey, this is not my cup of tea. 1 star, bye." You know, so that's the reason why I don't even try to even hate review floating ad books, because I know I'd give them all 1 stars, because it's not my wheelhouse. It, and I would also probably go on more epic rants of like Amazon's tagging system, but I'm trying to keep this more upbeat for this part, and more superhero prose needs more love. Yeah, there we go. That's another part. So, let's see. Oh no. Oh man, I'm beginning to wonder how many lit RPG series have like 5 or 6 ghostwriters to them, because some of these people's output it's not maintainable by like even say like three writers all at once. Like some of them are putting out like even 8 or 9 books a month. I'm like, what? Yeah, even the fastest pulp writer on the planet can't put out that many books by themselves all at once. Oh boy. But like I mentioned on Twitter, I really wish that Hub had an aspirational hero tag because yes, I am one of those types of readers that does enjoy the Supermans of the world. You know, that's why Uplift Protocol has XP kind of a knockoff of it. But it also has so many other things I enjoy in it. So, there. What you gonna do? If it's not there, like I've always said, make it. Yeah, that's what we need to do nowadays, especially to combat all the nihilism factor that has infiltrated every aspect of entertainment. So I don't care if critics think I'm naive for that, but I want aspirational, uplifting things. That's just the tildeer section of this video, or rather this TED Talk here. Yes, more aspirational superheroes, please. I mean, I guess I could put this in the Uplift Protocol section, because with Uplift Protocol, what throws me out of most superhero prose books when it does happen is like they're going into our Marvel Civil War where it puts too much of whatever is currently happening to us politically into a what's supposed to be a fictional Earth. That's why you won't see My Earth where it's like, oh yes, we put in forth today a year like a law to ban superheroics, and you have to register and that sort of thing. Now, I kind of lampshade this a little bit with HeroNet, but it's more like see, HeroNet, based on what I've revealed so far, especially even with the last issue, Eliza was like, "Oh, so that's why HeroNet was so on the ball. It's because it's K4 level civilization network, but it's disguising itself as something else to the people of Earth." Now it will give you updates on the heroes and everything. It's kind of like a little bit of a social media fun time in the background, but I don't really put in our social media qualms about it. It's more just like tongue in cheek. And really, I wanted to showcase that HeroNet is both a plus and a minus to some heroes, because then, say like you have a very industrious hero, a demi like the Puzzler, who actively looks at other people's profiles. It's like, so when they got captured, he's like, I know how some of these people's powers work and how we might be able to get out of here. And same thing with Sir Avalon. He's like, the Puzzler's skill set will definitely help us get out of here, but how can we, kind of start setting up a communication? So that's why I had them kind of do, like, telling each other through code. And, honestly, you can just take a line or two and, like, Puzzler figured out that the door was moving like in a clockwise position, so he would tap his foot every once in a while to showcase like, hey, the door's at the 3 o'clock position, or the door's at the 6 o'clock position, that sort of thing. You sometimes don't have to go super in depth on how people escape or get out of things, because again, it's superhero stuff. People expect them to get in and out of all sorts of shenanigans fairly easily, or at least in a fairly unorthodox way. And you know what? And sometimes I make it to where, say, like if Star was present, had to get rid of her during the one fight so that certain people could be captured, because that had to lead to certain other people being found. Because poor Michael Brooks was in there for like 150 years. That poor man. More of that stuff will come out later. I would say, as far as Michael Brooks goes, the Human, he will develop a certain set of powers because he was experimented on, but they did that more as like a template to see if they could give Kronos's, at the time, his human disguise as Michael, some interesting quirks, but nothing ever came of it because there is in-universe reasons, like excuse me. But yeah, when you look at stuff, it's like I like to reveal certain world building aspects in the quotes. sometimes, that way it doesn't end up to be like Weber level info dumps. I mean, again, I love your writing, Mr. Weber, but I don't want to have everybody's eyes glaze over with all the info dumping all at once. You know, so that's the why I liked that aspect even with Karen Travis's books. It's like she puts in a lot of information in these quotes, and sometimes the quotes are only a few lines, sometimes they're about a paragraph, but it gives you an idea of what's going on in the setting, either not related to the main characters or what might be coming ahead and affecting the story later. Like for Kate, that's why I do the memoir section at the end of each little quote thing. Like this is Star and some others putting in their input with the Sleeping in Starlight portion, which will also, that's the reason why the final book in the series is called Sleeping in Starlight, because it'll showcase the denouncement of the series, but you get little hints of it. I mean, I guess that's the reason why, in most superhero stuff I want to read, it's like, yes, I want to know that for sure there's going to be a happy ending at the end. My kingdom for happy endings. The earn your happy ending thing has been done a lot, but I'm just the type of person where I just like to have a series every once in a while where you just know they're going to win. Like, full stop. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, so many people seem to have this idea where it's like, no, the heroes have to go through extreme, complete hell and then get out on the other side. And it's like, that's an aspect of the hero's journey, but it doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. You can have a hero's journey where the protagonist is a beacon of light, and basically the side cast is what changes. Again, it's just my own preferences. It's just something I want to see more of, so that's why I'm writing what I'm writing. And again, I'm slowly gaining more and more people to this. So I'm hopefully by the end of the series, which again, my tappy tappy fingers, I'm aiming for the 2022 range. Seriously, I want to get that. I want that to be the ultimate Christmas present in 2022. So we'll see how fast Florida Woman ends up getting to the writing. And I think I'm doing pretty well because again, this initially issue 8 was supposed to be the Cabal breaking into Area 51 because again, it's useful to remember. It's like, okay, what was this character here for? Like Brooks has access, but she's also going to. I'll let you guys in on this part. She's gonna fuck her father over by using a lot of his fake IDs, and that's gonna put all his fake IDs on Project Osiris's, billboard after the invasion of Area 51 happens. And see, the thing is, it's not so much an invasion of the uplifted side either, even though uplifted entities cross over to the human side now because guess what? We're not in stage 0 anymore. We're in stage 1. So they are going to try to time it to where a couple of the council races are in tow. So, and that's even going to expand because initially I just wanted to make it kind of like Eliza and her father doing shenanigans to help save the day, but I'm also going to showcase just how interesting the setup is between mother and son, with Gino and her kid going around like, oh, we're going to just mess up your day too. That's the reason why the new chapter or slash issue 8 is going to have mostly Thomas and Gino basically in the limelight, and Thomas is going to get to discover some more things about Thomathon and everything else. It's going to just be fun. I just want to have fun. This Florida girl just wants to have fun. So there you go. Because again, when it comes to writing, preface with more, but yeah, it's just my opinion. Don't worry about any golden rules of writing. Whatever you're going to do, you'll have to develop your own style. If a bunch of showing fits your style more, okay. But again, realize that a lot of readers who don't like an overabundance of show will probably just nope out of your book. And the same goes for the telling. Like if you like to tell a lot, there's a lot of readers that like that, but then you got the reviews where it's like, no, the golden rules you have to show. And it's like, I show when I feel like it. For the most part, I think this is all coming down to like looking at the old pulps, and I'm like, I like how snappy and fast the story goes. It's not overladen with a ton of details. It's just like bam, 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 bam. It might have a few lines about describing the environment, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. So that's the kind of setup I do enjoy a lot more, because nowadays I don't have as much time to dive into like the Sanderson level 1,000 page behemoths that like Sanderson does a pretty good job, but he also like I enjoy his shorter books, like the ones that are between 400 and 500 pages, like the his one about the I just just trying to remember stuff off the ball. I'm like, bleh! But I'll probably link it below because it's like the one girl that's flying the starship, and most of that book, most of the two books for that, is between 400 and 500 pages. I just like stuff that's a little bit more snappy nowadays because between writing my own stuff, trying to find people out of the Amazon genre shuffle abyss, of tagging fun times and other things, I just don't have my time has to be prioritized to certain things. I catch up in some ways with Audible while I'm driving back and forth between my grandmother's house. Like that's 1 hour one way, 1 hour back, so that's 2 hours of catching up that way with Audible. Go figure. But yeah, as far as Uplift Protocol goes, the way I write nowadays, it's like I'll have the basic outline of the issue, then I'll set up like, okay, like this is the part where Eliza flies through a wall or whatever, and then I'll go on to the next section, and then afterwards I'll go back and then I'll start populating it with dialogue, quick description stuff. I might add or subtract words, if something gets too repetitive, because again, there's only so many ways you can have people smile, grin, all that stuff. So sometimes for me personally, I don't always mention it. I mean, I'll say like even with first person, I'll have like my attention was drawn to X, Y, or Z. Like there's only so many ways you could say attention or sense or feel, or I mean you can look at it like I guess a thesaurus a little bit, but in the end it's like sometimes even those words might get a little bit too clunky. So sometimes kiss works. Keep it simple, stupid. At least for my writing style, sometimes that just works best. Um, Even looking at other chapters, with more pew pew in it, it's like Tyler's opening chapter in the other book. I had just enough description and action, but it went boom boom boom. So when it comes to the combat stuff, like I try to picture it in my head first, and then I'm like, okay, how would Eliza handle this situation? She's not direct confrontational. Her twin brother, is going to be very much direct confrontational. That's why I gave a hint of that in the other issue where Gino was looking at us like, oh my god. So that's why, because Gino's watched her daughter grow up and everything, but I don't have to always mention things. Sometimes you can just go back and add a line or two, and that should explain the situation fairly well. But yeah, when Eliza was younger, she was pretty timid. Her brother, with their nightly sleeping jaunts, was basically roughhousing with her. It was like, no, 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 let loose with this, let loose with that. You can't hurt me. We're both, because they both have the same kind of setup. They can't really hurt each other. And he's like, stop trying to hit me and hit me. He basically wanted her to come out of her shell, and she'll slowly do this. But her first inclination, and even I wanted to take into effect that, like, again, male psyche and female psyche react to confrontation differently. So Eliza's first inclination is to mitigate whatever's happening. Dexter's first inclination is to escalate whatever's happening, because that, again, he's the spear, she's the shield. And you know what? I know some people might think of that in like a more dirty context, but for me, it's very literal. He's the offense, she's the defense. That's how I set up their twin dynamic. But the white and the black need each other as far as the defender belts go. They balance each other, like I've said before. But yeah, when you're writing stuff, you can have basic outlines. Like I'm a bit half and half. I go all over the place, but I also have like a central line running through whatever's happening in the issue. But sometimes, just like what happened with 5, where I'm like, well, I need to push back the original 6, 7, and 8 to later chapters because it ended up where it's like, oh my god, this thing's keeping on going. It's like I have to break some of these threads up. It's like, okay then. So again, always keep in mind, like as you read and write and everything else, there's no, don't limit yourself by like people who are saying this is the correct way to do it. You will just have a different personalized like style. It might like, I guess to use an example, for some people, Chuck Wendig's style might click with them. For a lot of people, it won't. You'll just have to come up against that when you're developing your writing style. That's about it, guys. I guess I'll see you for later. This has been another semi traveling rant into superhero prose that turned into a bit more about Uplift Protocol. So yeah, that's where I'll put it. Have a good day, everybody.